to the Who Dat Nation. Welcome to the Dome Patrol podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. Today's show, we are previewing this Sunday's matchup with the New Orleans Saints traveling to Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots. The Saints currently sit at 2-2, and New England Patriots are 1-3. Now, both teams are coming off of embarrassing losses. I think Bill Belichick had his worst loss of his career last week against the Dallas Cowboys. They lost that game 38-3, while the New Orleans Saints lost their matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by the score of 26-9. And so these two teams are coming off of embarrassing losses. Neither team scored a touchdown last week. It's just bad. And let's call it what it is. These are two bad teams going up against each other. Is really nothing to get excited about. Before we jump into this preview, let me start off by saying I love the New Orleans Saints. I bleed black and gold, but I still can't get over what I saw last week. I've tried and tried to wrap my head around that monstrosity that was put on the field last Sunday in the Dome at home. And I just can't wrap my head around it. It is really messing with me, and it's been messing with me all week to the point I didn't want to do this show. I was strongly debating on ending the Dome Patrol podcast, not because I don't enjoy talking to all you guys about my New Orleans Saints, about our New Orleans Saints. It was this show makes me have to watch this product, man. You know how many times I wanted to change the channel last Sunday watching this team? To be honest with you, for the past 2 years, it's been hard watching this team. And not hard because we're bad. Like I said, I grew up loving the Saints. And around the time I grew up and got into football, the Saints sucked. To put it plainly, they were trash. People had bags on their heads. You know, it was a bad product out there. But we knew they were bad. They didn't hide the fact that they were bad. The Saints were who they were. We still had a top-notch defense. We had the Dome Patrol defense back then, but we didn't have an offense. You know, it was something to look at. You know, you can still watch the defense and get excited. You know, what's to get excited about now? And this team is far more talented than what we saw in the 80s and the 90s. Watching this team just underachieve, you know, even in the past 10 years, this team underachieved. Let's be honest. But they were still contenders. They were still fighting. At no point during the Drew Brees, Sean Payton era did I watch a game and was on pins and needles when we had a double-digit lead, because we might squander it and lose in the fourth quarter, which has happened twice over the last, I was going to say 2 years, but actually in the last 6-7 months, this didn't happen. You know, never did I sit back and watch a game and hope and pray, cross my fingers and my toes, and hope that we can score a touchdown in the game. I never had that problem. We never had that problem. You know, we may lose, but at least we're going to score, you know. We never got mollywopped. We've been getting mollywopped, man. We've been getting embarrassed as of late. And it really came to a crescendo this Sunday for me, because I sat there and watched this team with all this talent, with all this potential, and basically lay an egg for no reason. You know, for the past week, everybody has been calling for Pete Carmichael's head, and I'm in that camp. I'm in that camp. but it goes deeper than Pete Carmichael. It really does. It goes deeper than Dennis Allen. You got to go all the way to the tippy top. You got to go all the way to Mickey Loomis with this. You have to go everywhere. Actually, all through that building on airline. You have to go through everybody, including the players. Nobody is giving 100%. It feels like now, and I want to stress feels like, because I know there are some players that are suiting up every Sunday and giving it their all, and I do see that. But my God, the good got to suffer for the bad here. It really does feel like some players just aren't there. It isn't getting through. The message isn't being received, whatever the message is, or maybe it's just a bad message. Going back to Pete Carmichael, we saw him take the podium this week, and this is how you know it's bad. This is how you know we have reached a point where this team is completely out of control. There's no structure here. There's really no structure. Pete Carmichael, who you never see take a podium. I can count on one hand how many times Pete Carmichael has addressed the media. I can't really think of any other than this week. I know if I go back and, probably research some and find that he has talked to the media, but this week is the first time I ever actually seen him come up, take the podium, and take all the slings and arrows, even though there weren't any. There weren't any slings and arrows, really, to be honest, because I felt he should have been pushed more by the media, by all the journalists who was asking him questions. But he took full responsibility, as he should. He said all the right things up there. I don't want to hear that. Honestly, I don't want to hear it, because it don't mount up to a hill of beans if you don't do anything on Sundays. It's just some really, really questionable play call. And going back to the Derek Carr effect, there's some questionable play there. I kind of saved Derek Carr when we were discussing the recap of that game. I'm like, well, it's not Derek Carr's fault. Well, I want to tweak that a little bit. It's not entirely his fault. But Derek Carr, he owns a fair share of responsibility. When you go back and watch that game, even though I don't recommend it, if you were to go back and watch that game, you can see that Derek Carr had open receivers throughout that game, and he didn't throw him the ball. You can see where Derek Carr was holding on to the ball too long, and that's how he got sacked. I think 2 times on Sunday. The 2 sacks that he got was his fault. I can't even blame the offensive line. It's just dumb decision making. And we think back to Drew Brees when he was here. And look, I never at no point expected Derek Carr to come in here and be the second coming of Drew Brees, because we're not going to get that no more. What we had with Drew Brees was rare. What we had with Drew Brees was special. There's only one. He is the one. He's one of one. Drew Brees is a first ballot Hall of Famer without a doubt. And we're not going to get that no more. So whatever quarterback we get, they're never going to mount up to Drew Brees. That's just point blank, period. And so it doesn't shock me that he's not up to Drew Brees' level. I never expected that out of Derek Carr. I don't expect that out of no quarterback in this league. Maybe a Patrick Mahomes, and I'm stressing maybe. Even Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has been shaky throughout his young career. As good as he is, all of these young crop of quarterbacks who are just phenomenal. All of them are phenomenal, but none of them are to the elite status of a Drew Brees, of a Tom Brady, of a Peyton Manning, even Aaron Rodgers, who is still in the league, but he's hurt. But I mean, we don't get that. We don't have that. So Derek Carr, I thought at least would give us a little more. Derek Carr is an above average quarterback. Let's just call him what he is. Derek Carr isn't up there with the quarterbacks, some of the quarterbacks that I listed earlier. He's above average. He's decent. But the sad part about it, he's the same quarterback as Jameis Winston. He's the exact same quarterback. And I scratch my head because we paid Derek Carr. Derek Carr got paid from New Orleans. If you was going to pay somebody, pay Jameis Winston. They're the same guy. They're the same guy. All the complaints that everybody has towards Jameis Winston, Derek Carr does the exact same thing. That's why I never understood the narrative. All the people in the Who Dat Nation, or so-called Saints fans, who was just over the moon excited that we got Derek Carr. Don't get me wrong. I like Derek Carr. I wasn't mad at getting Derek Carr. But never did I think that Derek Carr was just leaps and bounds better than Jameis Winston. And he's proven that. He has proven that. But in this offense, the way it was initially designed, I thought that he could do better. He can kind of turn the knob up a little bit. We won 7 games last year. I thought with the addition of Derek Carr, he might can add 3. He can add 3 games himself. And so I don't know what's going on. To be honest with you, this team looks worse this year. Now, the sky isn't falling. The rivers aren't rising. We're only 2-2. We're only 4 weeks in, going into the 5th. A lot of football is left to be played, but a lot has been exposed as far as what the Saints' strengths and weaknesses are. And teams are going to attack that, and teams have been attacking that. So it is a very concerning thing. Another thing I wanted to say before we get into the preview. I don't know if you all listened, heard the interview that Alvin Kamara gave during the week. Alvin Kamara is fed up. The man, immediately after the game, he flat out said he's tired of losing. Man, I'm tired of losing. And I want to say Wednesday he gave an interview with Nick Underhill, I believe, and he really went in. He expounded on it. He had a couple of days to let that sit and kind of, probably come back with a cooler head and give coach speak and player speak like, oh, I was just frustrated or something like that. No, sir. He doubled down and tripled down, actually. Alvin Kamara went off. Alvin Kamara didn't name drop. He didn't, throw anybody under the bus per se, but he threw everybody under the bus at the same time. And basically, Pete Carmichael and did his alley. He threw him under the bus. He was like, man, if we run the ball. Now, he's a running back. Of course he's going to say run the ball. But it made logical sense of what he was talking about. He wasn't just talking crazy. He wasn't just talking selfishly. He was talking about other players getting the ball. He was talking about the offensive line, what they like to do, how you can help them, how you can help Derek Carr, how you can help the defense. He went all in on all the problems the New Orleans Saints have right now. I was trying to get it so I could play it here on the show, but my computer wasn't acting right. I couldn't get it to play. But it was beautiful. All you got to do is Google it. Just look it up. Beautiful interview. And I mean, he was right. It wasn't like this was a frustrated player. He just mad because he's not getting the ball and all this. That wasn't the basis of that wasn't the motivation behind that interview. He just broke it down. And this is a man who only played 1 game. After 1 game, he came to this realization, and we all should have known this going in. Now, I thought maybe the offense would get better once he got here because the offense is really designed around Alvin Kamara. That's your playmaker. That's arguably your best player on offense. And so you're going to design or game plan your offense around your best player, who is Alvin Kamara. So I figured we would get better after that. No, it got worse. It got worse. Man, do you realize Alvin Kamara had 13 catches last week? Now, he ran the ball, of course. He did a decent job running the ball. He did a decent job catching the ball. But he only had 33 yards receiving off of 13 catches. What does that sound like to you? Check down Charlie, right? That means he wasn't running any real routes, you know? And I believe that was a record. That was the lowest yards total for 13 yards reception. It was like some type of record. And that is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Not to mention Chris Olave, the infamous one catch for 4 yards last week. You know, I got not an argument, but I got in a discussion with somebody a couple of days ago. They were going off on Chris Olave. Oh man, he didn't do nothing. Yada yada yada. He only had one catch. I'm like, bruh, y'all act like he's throwing himself the ball. I mean, how is he going to get more? How can he get more? I mean, he's running the routes. You got to throw him the ball. I can see if he had 30 drops. Okay, yeah, we could have that discussion. But no, there's nothing to discuss. He didn't get the ball. It's so frustrating. And I don't know what's going to happen with this team moving forward. The mere fact that Dennis Allen to get up there and say, oh, we don't need to change anything. It's not smart to change anything right now. What you mean it's not smart to change anything? What you have going right now is not working. The common sense thing is to change something. Change. If you're not going to change the coach, fine. Change the game plan. Because what you're doing is not working. Even in the 2 games that you won, the offense didn't look good. It is glaring. The Saints have averaged 15 points a game thus far. 15 points a game. This is with a Mike Thomas, a Chris Olave, a Jimmy Graham, a Foster Monroe, and you can only muster up 15 points a game. But our head coach is going to stand in front of a microphone and say, oh, we just got to clean up some things. We have to reevaluate some things. You think? I have no faith in this team. And it pains me. Honest to God, it pains me to watch this team. It's like watching your child. And I pray that none of you listening ever have to go through this. I pray that I'd never have to go through this. This is the only example I could think of. It's like watching your child commit a crime. You go to the courtroom during the trial and witnessing your child being sentenced to life in prison for something. And you can't do nothing about it. But you have to sit there and support him because that's your child. That's what I feel like when I sit down on a Sunday afternoon and watch the Saints. I know they're going to lose. I know they're going to underachieve, but I have to sit there and watch it. It is so depressing. Now, 9 times out of 10, they'll probably win this game. Because like I said, both teams are sorry. Now, the Saints are sorry. The New England Patriots are even worse. After going 2-2 in the first 4 games of this season, the Saints go on a road for 2 consecutive weeks, starting this week against the New England Patriots. This is the 16th time that these teams have linked up. New England holds an advantage of 10-5 against the New Orleans Saints going into this matchup. In New England, the Patriots are 5-4. The Saints and the Patriots have split the last 2 meetings, each winning at the opponent's home stadium. For the New Orleans, they posted their first victory in New England. I think that was in 2001 when they beat New England 28-13. The matchup has the potential of being a defensive battle because both of the offense stink. But the Saints defense is currently ranked 11th in total defense in the NFL. but they're one spot behind, guess who? The New England Patriots, who are 10th in total defense in the NFL. On the other side of the ball, the Saints are tied for 25th in scoring offense with, like I said earlier, 15.5 points a game. But we're not the New England Patriots, who are currently ranked 31st. That is one spot from last, people, averaging 13.8 points a game. With that being said, New England probably going to come out there and score 30 points. I don't know. It's just Saints are cursed. That's all I can think of. Saints are just cursed. Let's go over our statistics. Starting with the records, the Saints, of course, are 2-2. New England is 1-3. Scoring average, this is the NFL ranking. The New Orleans Saints, 15.5 points a game. They're tied for 25th. New England, 13.8 points a game. They are 31st. Offensive scoring average, 19 points a game. Saints rank 9th. Whereas New England, 24.3, they are ranked 20th. Total offense, Saints are ranked 23rd with 285.3. New England, they're ranked 18th with 320.3. Rushing offense, Saints are ranked 25th, averaging 87.5 yards a game, whereas the New England Patriots are ranked 23rd with 93.5. Passing offense, Saints are ranked 21st in the league. Lord have mercy. Averaging 197.8 yards a game. New England is ranked 13th, averaging 226.8 yards a game. Total defense, stated earlier, Saints are ranked 11th, whereas New England is ranked 10th. Rushing defense, Saints is ranked 11th again, giving up 103.3 yards a game. New England, on the other side, they're ranked 8th, averaging 101 yards rushing, giving up a game. Passing defense, Saints are ranked 12th in the lead, giving up 201 yards of passing per game, whereas the New England Patriots are ranked 10th in the lead, average yards given up 196. In turnover margin, both of these teams are tied for 15th, dead even. They they are dead even in the turnover margin. Penalties, Saints have 24 penalties for 237 yards. New England, 24 penalties for 188 yards. Team leaders, starting with passing. Of course, our leading passer is Derek Carr. He is 80 for 124 pass attempts, 763 yards of passing, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions through 4 games. Matt Jones for the New England Patriots, he is 93 of 145 pass attempts, 898 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. The leading rushers for both teams, the New Orleans Saints leading rusher is Taysom Hill, 20 carries for 101 yards. For the New England Patriots, we have Ramondre Stevenson, 60 carries for 164 yards and a touchdown. Leading receivers for both teams, of course, our leading receiver through 4 games is Chris Olave. 23 catches for 306 yards. For the New England Patriots, it's their tight end, Hunter Henry. He has 17 catches for 176 yards and 2 touchdowns. For the injury report for this upcoming game on Sunday, for the New Orleans Saints, Derek Carr is questionable with his shoulder. Jawan Johnson, tight end, he has been ruled out. James Hurst, he is offensive tackle. He is questionable for Sunday's game. Lonnie Johnson Jr., cornerback, he has been ruled out. And Landon Young, offensive tackle, he has been ruled out of Sunday's game. For the New England Patriots, Cody Davis, their safety, he is on the PUP list. He will not be playing. Rowley Reef, their offensive tackle, he is on IR. New England standout cornerback Christian Gonzalez, he is ruled out for this game. Trent Brown, their offensive tackle, is questionable, and their leading rusher, running back Ramondre Stevenson, he is also questionable for Sunday's game. I'm still scratching my head with this Derek Carr situation. I don't know why he keeps getting trotted out there. What are we trying to prove here? I don't I don't understand. Okay, he's tough. All right, yay. We know he's tough. I liked his toughness, but you're not very smart if you're going out there with a hurt shoulder. Throwing shoulder nonetheless makes zero sense to me. But this game is a pick'em. I don't have a prediction for this game. I probably won't be predicting any games in the foreseeable future, and the reason is, as I stated earlier, I have zero confidence in this organization. I have confidence in my players. I really do. All the players, I have confidence. It's too much talent on that squad for me to just abandon their abilities. But it's the ones in charge, the ones calling the plays, the ones pulling the trigger. I don't have any faith in them. And even if we go out here and dominate and win, which I have a feeling they're going to do, they'll mess around next week and lay an egg. You know what I'm saying? There's no consistency from this organization that we have seen in the past couple of years that's contrary to that fact. They haven't won 2 games in a row, I don't think, or 3 games in a row, should I say. It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle, and I don't know. I don't know what to say other than I am going to watch the game. I'm going to recap the game afterwards like I always do, and we'll see from there. I think the Saints are going to win, but I'm not I'm not putting a penny towards it. I'll say that the Saints are underdogs going on the road against a team that just lost by 35 points. The Saints are underdogs. That should tell you all you need to know. But I want to know, what are your thoughts about this upcoming game, and what do you think are the Saints' problems? I would love to know, and I also would love to know, do you think Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael can get this thing turned around? Do you honestly think that? I don't, until you show me that you can. I don't. But hey, maybe you think they can, and you can talk me off the ledge, so to speak. I would love to hear from you. You can email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look me up on all social media platforms. Just look up the KB Radio Network. Don't forget about YouTube. We're on YouTube. Just subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Also, don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Dome Patrol here on the KB Radio Network. Everyone, thank you for joining me for this preview of the New Orleans Saints traveling to Foxborough, Massachusetts to take on the New England Patriots in a showdown of the worst offenses in the NFL. I look, they're not the worst. Well, New England is almost the worst, but the Saints, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about them. We'll see this Sunday, 12 noon on CBS this week. We're on the I Network. So I'll be talking to you after the game to recap a possible Saints victory. We'll see. But in spite of me being borderline depressed by watching this team, upset with this team, mad with this team, I'm still gonna be screaming, "Who that?"